Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Austin here, bringing you the fourth game of roxkisSlivko and TSLHyuN from the Antec Attack Weekly Tournament Finals. This is going to be a best-of-5 series, of course, if you've been tuning in. If not, check it out. The current score of our series is 2-1 for Hyun, who is the red Zerg player. Up here, top right, Cloud Kingdom, and bottom left is going to be roxkisSlivko. So if we want to look back on our past few games, we've had mostly some mirror play. Each player has gone for identical tech in every game, and they all came down to the near end of the game control. Infestor play was big in games 2 and 3. In game 1, it was really the Banewing bust that Hyun was able to come out on top with. But in that last game, Slivko just dominated, was able to keep his opponent on the back foot. A lot of harassment in this matchup so far. It's my first actual professional ZvZ. I have done one amateur one, and it's I enjoy the matchup because of how much of a mirror matchup it can get to be, and because the tech is almost always the same. Even the scouting, as I've said in every game, the scouting is just identical. The overlords and even the drone scouts, always exactly on par. Even the extractor drone timings, nearly identical through and through. So it's an exciting matchup because it often comes down to micro and how tunneling claws at one point Hyun got and was able to out micro his opponent, in the heat of a battle, and use tunneling claws to his advantage. That roach underground movement upgrade, and then it was just each game has been very close, and each player had even supply, even army supply, and it just came down to the last few minutes, some engagements, harassment, and that was it. I mean, that does sound a lot like what StarCraft 2 often comes down to, but it's especially emphasized in ZvZ because it's all about, as a lot of people say, who makes the first mistake are going to lose. That happens in some mirror matchups too. I can say from PvP, if both players go for the simple 4-gate early pressure and transition, then the player with the better control wins, and the player who can, let's say you're defending, you get a nice force field off, you can hold it off and win the game. So ultimately, this ZvZ, this matchup, Slivko is on the back foot. If he loses this, he will have to settle for 75 euros, while Hyun will get 125. And I checked I believe it was North American ladder, the Grandmaster ladder the other day, and Hyun was third. I know he's a South Korean, but he's playing on the US ladder for whatever reason. But that's interesting. Maybe it was the Korean ladder. I'm not sure. I just checked the Grandmaster tab. I am on the North American server, so I would surmise that it is Hyun who is third. Last time I checked, so the players actually having interchanging pool and hatch timings. Hyun got the pool first. Now he's gonna get his metabolic boost way faster, but Slivko instead opted for the hatch. He has his pool done now, and he's not gonna get his boost yet. Instead, get that fast spine crawler to deal with any early opposing pressure. Handful of overlords just hovering about. No major engagements yet. Let's see what each player scouted. So the late natural has been seen by Slivko, and Hyun now going to see his opponents. So both players getting the metabolic boost, but Hyun already has a halfway finished Banewing nest. That played a massive role for him in game number 1 of this series. It's how he took it decisively. He just roasted 18 drones with 2 Banewings. It was fantastic control from him. He was able to just run it up a similar ramp to this and just boom right back here. And so Banewing Nest on the way as well from Slivko, but there are going to be some faster wings here from Hyun. The Spine Crawler should have no trouble dealing with that, though, as with the Queen as well. A nice little Queen contain here, and the second Queen over here. So that should be no issue for Slivko. He's going to see this coming over. Of course, our players boasting identical populations, and the speed upgraded wings, I believe newly speed upgraded. Yeah, they were not speed upgraded leaving that base. Are going to be just fine, but there are 2 Banewings morphing and 2 finished, so the Queen's going to have to try to pick off these Banewings. Slivko had better be careful. He's morphing more drones. He's got 6 wings on the way, but these will have to finish in time now that the 4 Banewings are done, and if Hyun can contain this Spinecrawler and Queens with his Zerglings, the drones are going to be run off the natural, though, so I was saying if he was able to contain this Spinecrawler with the Zerglings, he could hit hard with the Banewings, but the beautiful predictive movement there from Slivko allows him to just cost Hyun the price of these 4 Banewings and wings, and now though his opponent has been able to macro up, the attempted damage had really just failed, and now Slivko is going to almost identically mirror his opponent's unit count. Actually, yes, very close. 8 wings to 5 for Slivko, and now 4 bait wings each with 2 queens, and similar harvesters. Yeah, 33 to 34 for HyuN. So, really, the income tab, both players extremely comparable. There haven't really been too many mistakes to be made yet. I just found it was excellent predictive movement there from Slivko. And sometimes you can see some of the higher level Zerg players have fantastic prediction. I saw Stefano, and he knew to get his air units, or I forget, I believe it was roaches or mutas, in place right like 3 minutes before drop. He just knew the drop was coming, and it's fantastic. He had just some units here. There is the roach war on the field for both players, but Slivko is going to outpace his opponent. He is instead going to be a little bit behind in lair tech. He does like to get the faster third, I have noticed that, but HyuN also has his, so it's pretty close. And there's the lair tech from Slivko. So these players mirroring each other identically yet again. But Slivko has gotten himself ahead 10 population. They have identical harvesters. He just has a few more wings. So the ground armies right now are not actually playing a big part. No workers killed, no units killed. So just some back and forth trade-offs. The overlords hovering about until some players can get hydras. I believe that is how HyuN took the last game. He had some nice hydras, and that's really for me where I see hydras play probably the biggest role, unless they're facing a heavy air composition. In mid game to late game ZvZ, when it's just roach wing, you can throw roach wing hydra is just so powerful. You can just throw it in there. If your opponent decides to invest in mutas, you can just deal some damage, especially with that groove spines upgrade. And there is now Guile reconstitution for HyuN. His opponent has opted for the missile attacks to level 1. Does not have too significant a roach force on the field right now. 5, so that's modest. His opponent not building any just yet. HyuN is going to get the infestation pit though, and that could play a big role. Infestors and their fungals have done quite a number on Zerg forces in this series. It's been pretty exciting just to watch these players control, and nothing too special done there from Slivko. There is going to be the spine crawler here at the 3rd location. Overlords hovering about. There is going to be the Overseer Cocoon on the way. Probably going to see some changelings. I always like the look of Zerg air cocoons. They're so neat. It's a shame that the Overseer is going to be taken out of the game. I don't know. I don't exactly see Blizzard's point there. There is not going to be an infestation pit at all, by the way, from our teal Zerg player. He's just got this heavy roach force. He's not invested in it yet. Only now getting the Evo chamber, so this Overseer is just going to fly about. And move speed 1.88 to 0.47, so Overseers do add some pretty significant speed. We do have pathogen glands here for HyuN, so I think HyuN could be at a bit of an advantage right now because his opponent does have the bigger upfront roach force, but those fungals could deal some damage. Then again, both players are going to have Guile reconstitution and missile attacks level 1 in time. Carapace level 1 as well on the way from our teal player. So really it's going to be a close engage. I think it could go back and forth more to a later macro game. The lair tech has allowed Slivko to produce 5 infestors, while his opponent is opting for the Hydra, so that's interesting. We're going to have Roach, Ling, Hydra, potentially, yeah, probably a couple Banelings in there as well. There are, up against Roach, Ling, Infestor. So it's going to really come down to control, as I said, but I think those fungals could play a big role, though Slivko is actually quite ahead. He has not as much as I thought. He just has 12 more wings. I thought his Roach Force was unparalleled, but then did not realize that HyuN has a very similar composition. He is getting the 4th. His opponent just sitting on 3 bases. Let's see our income tab. 77 to 63 harvesters. Wow. Actually some significant out macro play there from Slivko. And he has gotten he hasn't even done much for blast damage. He's just kept ahead. This opponent now investing in that 4th. So the Groove Spines upgrade is researching here from Slivko, who's opting for a macro hatch right near around his 3rd location. And he does have another in production. That is his 4th. So HyuN is now going to mobilize his forces here. This could be a battle that could potentially win him 125 euros if he does it, if he controls well. There goes the Overseer, revealing the Hydras, and the Roach Force is going to come in from the side here. One hitting that Spine Crawler, not bad, seeing the macro hatch, but Groove Spines could play a role in this battle. If they finish in time, should not be a huge problem for HyuN. In addition to missile attacks level 2, sorry, for Slivko, it will play a big role if his Groove Spines do finish. They will, as well as missile attacks level 2. HyuN, however, I was saying HyuN before, only now researching his Carapace and missile attacks level 2. He is going to be behind in that kind of upgrade. And oh, I forgot to set myself to busy. My apologies. There we go. Commentary, 1 min. Just a friend of mine, Elite Legend. You've probably seen him in some of my amateur commentaries. I always set myself to busy. Just a minor mistake there. So we do have Carapace level 2 coming from Slivko, and this could deal some damage, but I think the Infestor's still going to play a big role for HyuN. It's the Infestor versus Hydra, and now Slivko has reached that maximum military saturation of 200, and so is HyuN. So now he has gotten an infestation pit with pathogen glands, and HyuN has gotten a Hydra den. So both players going to have equal tech in just a few minutes here, but there is going to be that Hydra versus Infestor engage. Let's see how many fungals can land. Actually, no, just a bunch of infested Terrans covering HyuN's retreat. He is going to allow them to pop and pick off a few roaches. I don't know if that was the best spent Infestor energy, though. Some good fungals like the one he just landed could deal a number on Slivko's force, and there's going to be a lot done right now. The roach force of HyuN looking ever promising, going to bake Slivko's, but his opponent does have 30 roaches on the way. Can he deny this 4th hatch in time before those 35 roaches finish? He's going to be hitting it pretty hard. I think this will go down. Let us see, though. Just a couple of roaches going to fall here for Slivko, and the 4th will fall, so that is going to deny Slivko the extra base. Well, HyuN has actually finished his own 4th, so he's going to pull back, and well played, getting his own Groove Spines upgrade. That's going to soon finish, and Carapace level 1 in addition to missile attacks level 2, so we are going to have near even upgrades, except Slivko does have 1 up in terms of Carapace, and he will in just a few minutes here, and there comes the Infestors now from Slivko, a few more regenerating from HyuN. So this is going to be identical tech, really, and it's going to come down to the final battle control. That was a nice engage there. Let's see how well they traded off. There we go, units lost. So Slivko did lose 68 units, just about 2,000 more resources, which is pretty significant. And if we look right here, there we go, 65 to 61, not workers. Actually, still no workers killed in this whole game, so there's been minimal harass. It's all come down to control. So let's see how HyuN is able to pick off some of these overlords that could deny his opponent some population, which could be pretty key here if he can supply block Slivko. But then again, his opponent is at the 200 pop mark, so that should not make a huge difference. We do have Burrow from HyuN. I don't know if he has that Tunneling Claws upgrade. I will try to check real quick. Try not to miss any engage. No, he does not have Tunneling Claws. Maybe he will invest in that again. He's getting his Hive Tech up right now. So there is going to be another engage here. A nice early fungal there from Slivko, though. Infested Terrans popping out. They will be highly vulnerable to the Spine Crawler line here of Slivko. There are 3 Spine Crawlers in there. And now Slivko going to reinforce. He's fighting for his 4th yet again. It just finished. I don't know if it's going to be able to survive this battle at half health now. And HyuN is slightly ahead of his opponent in terms of roaches. He will try to deny this 4th yet again. And if he could do so, it would put him in such good standing. But Slivko is able to parry his main force back. And now HyuN just going to wait for 28 roaches to finish. 18 just did, and now 10 more on the way. He can get them burrowed now, but no Tunneling Claws just yet. Now investing into it. So if he can get those Tunneling Claws, run under his opponent's nose and deny this 4th yet again, HyuN would be in great standing. He is actually still behind in Harvesters. He needs to start saturating his 4th base, but he just does not have the kind of population to do so. Maybe some worker transfers would do him some good. He's now going to try to be moving in here. He will deny an overlord, and yeah, I guess he would do well for some extra harvesters, but he still does have a massive amount of unspent resources, especially gas, so he could just regenerate his army really fast. So there are going to be some Spine Crawlers entrenching. Not the best engage point here from HyuN. He does have roughly even roaches, but now the Infested Terrans are going to pop out. Spine Crawlers forcing themselves to hit the roach force. A nice fungal there from Slivko is going to reduce this little block's health all the way down to the orange, and now to the red. So you're going to have to be careful micro here from HyuN. He is now doing some damage, but don't forget Slivko does have that extra Carapace upgrade. He's going to force his opponent to mildly retreat, and unless the Infestors can be controlled well, Slivko could be put on the back foot here. He has held against his opponent quite well. 14 more roaches now on the way. So Slivko is just telling him, look, you can push at me until you're blue in the face. And by the way, now saturation on the 4th. Slivko is pretty much saying, you can push at me until you're blue in the face, but I just have too many Spine Crawlers. And every time you come, I'll regenerate my force. But HyuN doing an excellent job of keeping his opponent on the back foot. He hasn't allowed too much saturation to reach this 4th. And although there's an impressive 3 more Spine Crawlers on the way with one of them seriously damaged, I think HyuN's Tunneling Claws could play a nice role if he's to just burrow under here and then boom, one hit and then go back down, because there are no overseers on the field, I do not believe, for our teal player. He has, actually no, he has two, but they're not necessarily in position here. One, so that should do him some good. There is going to be that overlord speed pneumatized carapace right there from Slivko, and HyuN actually just reduced a little bit. He is investing a lot more in Hydras. They have that range upgrade, and they are going to do a lot of damage against the opposing Roaches, because Roach versus Roach is just usually an even trade-off, but when it comes to Roach versus Hydra, the Hydras can be pretty powerful. So these Infestors now going to come behind Slivko's fourth, probably going to migrate to the third because there is not enough. That's exactly what they're going to do. And look at that. That just looks like an RPG. That's missile attacks level 2. I would be worried if my opponent had that kind of upgrade. And Slivko is going to have to deal with these infested Terrans at his third location. HyuN probably going to come with a straight up push. So many of these infested Terrans. And now HyuN is going to hit hard the assault, forcing his opponent to diverge, but a bunch of spine crawlers dealing unspeakable damage to HyuN's line. Slivko has been diverted, but the diversion did not work as well as HyuN would have wanted because of those well-placed spine crawlers. Another one is going to aspire actually on the way in the worst of spots. That spire could come into play quite well if Slivko can survive that long. HyuN still has his level 3 upgrades on the way. He's trying to reinforce, but I think there just might be too many infestors here. They are going to pop out a bunch of infested Terrans. Well, not too much of a bunch, maybe just 7, 8, but that will probably hold off HyuN. He does have a few Hydras, though. His opponent he is reinforcing with 21 Roaches just finishing, but his opponent is going to force him back here, and if this Spire can finish, which it does, that could play a pretty neat role there for HyuN, for Slivko, who does not actually have Hive yet. His main is only at Hatchery. I believe his lair, yeah, oh, no, he does have Hive, my apologies, and so too does HyuN. So now there is going to be another engage here. Slivko is slightly out ahead of his opponent. If those missile attacks level 3 can finish, this should actually force a potential GG on Slivko, because he will not be able to, he is trading relatively even now with his opposing player. Let's see, there's about 318 units killed, but 23 workers killed there for HyuN, so that was really, really irreparable damage there for the, to the Teal Zerg's economy, because that many infested Terrans, there's about this many just on his mineral line, completely undefended. So now HyuN, I don't know if it's the best position here for Slivko to engage. He should pull out these infestors here before he loses too many of them. I think he will do just that, rallying a few Roaches quite badly. And now this missile attacks level 3 will soon finish, and that could play a game-changing role in this upcoming battle. I think Slivko is a little too confident right now. He thinks he has this, and there are some more infested Terrans popping out from burrowed infestors of HyuN's, and these are just not dealt with. 23 workers killed still. The Spine Crawler and Queen should, as a duo, should do quite some damage, but there are now more infested Terrans and no Spine Crawler here at this base. Now this Roach Infestor force, the Spire has not been really put to use. Is it still standing here for Slivko? I don't see it. No, there it is. So there's no Spire tech right now, but I think there are so few Hydras here for HyuN that it could come into, it could be a pretty big advantage if Slivko gets some Utatech or even lasts long enough to reach Broodlords. There are still these infestors here just hanging around. Both players kind of just hanging about. Now there is going to be a burrowed infestor just crawling around here. Both players just kind of hanging about, waiting for their opponents to engage, and badly rallied Roach there going to die. Actually, I believe more than one, just a handful there. So I don't know how Slivko is going to be able to hold this one off, because he only has 2-2. His opponent does have 3-2, and that could play a huge role. We have 22 damage to his opponent. His opponent's 20, and now HyuN going to be pushing out with everything he's got. Let us look at the units tab. We have a numerical advantage for HyuN by 16 Roaches, 9 Infestors, and there are not too many Lings right now, so I think this could be a GG here for HyuN, and unless Slivko can get these Infestors out and ready to go. He has the Overseer moving in. He's going to see this mass force Scout Roach now moving in from HyuN, and he's going to follow it up with his massive army. Imminent GG could be here from Slivko, and there it is. Just did not have enough to hold off there. That was a very exciting macro game. Just both Zerg players back and forth trading armies. But I think the game changer in this matchup, boom, 48 workers killed for HyuN. That was from those buried infestors here, just completely GGing his opponent. We had 3 kills, 16 kills, And let's see what this other guy has. 8 kills, so we have Slayer, Assassin, and Predator. Pretty crazy stuff. I think that is what won Hyun's game for him, in addition to that Weapons 3 upgrade. Anyways, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this ZvZ. Congratulations to TSLHyuN for winning 125 euros. Slivko coming in a respectable second with 75. This cast has been a pleasure to bring to you, and I hope you guys will tune in next time for my next series. This is Os77SC, as always, signing off.